Hello and welcome to Devin's Workshop. Today I will be turning this red LED step switch, clicky clicky, into an RGB step switch. So if you're interested to learn how that's done, this is a modification, and stick around and find out. First thing, disassemble the step switch. I usually use these little jumpers to get into this little section right here. Kind of pop that out a little bit. Then do the other side. The cap just pops right off, and then you're left with this LED. And here the negative of the LED is on the left and the positive is on the right. So we want to try and stick our positive on the right side. Underneath of it. Push it through. Yep, there we go. So that's coming out. And then you just pull that right out. Here's one that I've already done for that one. So here's the size of the LEDs for the Adafruit step switches. And here's the LED that I'm going to replace it with. As you can see, the height of the LED bulb is very important because the bulb has to fit into this cap area, and a 5mm bulb will not fit. Okay, so here's a 5mm RGB compared to the 3mm. Much bigger. It's about twice the height. So a 5mm, unless you wanted to drill this out, but even if you drilled it out, it wouldn't fit. So that fits in there nice, but it's only the top. And the problem is, uh, the whole size. You can't fit all four of these pegs in here. This is the wrong LED for it. And through trial and error, I have figured out that this is. I don't know if this is the right LED for it, but it works. I made it work. So we will begin by. There are four tiny little holes here. Focus. It's just not going to want to focus, is it? Okay, so there's four tiny little holes there, and the two in the middle are the only one that are used by the red LED. But with the RGB LED, there's four pins, and you want now this, I'm using a common anode, so this longer leg is the positive, and all three of the other legs are the negative. So you want to put the positive in the second slot, and that's going to be a real tight fit too. And then you can slide that in, and you can push down as far as you want to go. That's as far as it's going to go. So if we take our red LED where it should be, that's the height difference. So it's still a long way to go. Pick up that distance right there, that little space. So we have to make up. So I figured just brute force it. Not with strength, but with heat. So we're going to turn these pins into basically heat set inserts. We're going to heat up the entire LED all across the terminals. And this is a pretty robust LED. You'll see in a minute. So we have to heat it up and then melt this into the housing. These are they're squared off, so they're not going to fit straight down into the hole, unlike these, which are straight. So the difference in LED leg design is kind of a problem that we have to get around, and we do that with heat. And we'll just stick the soldering iron between the two legs, making sure not to actually touch the housing. So we're just going to heat up those two main legs there. And then as we do that, we're going to basically use it like a heat insert and press down on the top of the housing going down. Okay, we went down a little bit. We have to get this flush. So that is not good enough. They have to sit flush. Actually, what we really want is to recess this into the housing there, if possible. Bit more force. I will use my right hand because I'm stronger on the right. And I'll heat these pins up and press down. Much better. It's close, but we still have to get these little portions in there actually to heat insert themselves and melt themselves basically into the housing, because we need every hot little inch. There could be a more specialized, better way of doing this. I don't know. This is just kind of the way that I figured out how to do it. Okay, that's good and recessed in there now. That's flush. Flush, flush. Even if I were to put this cap back on, it's not going to be flush enough to click. Nope. Because there's still one more step we have to do. Okay, so next step, Dremel. Now this is not a reinforced disc. This is a very, very thin paper thin disc that only has abrasive material on one side, the top of the disc. It's like a sanding disc. This is not a cutting wheel. Okay, and there we go. Now we got to click. As long as it clicks reliably, that's when you know that you've done a good job. For CircuitPython, I'm using QtPy, or a Feather would work just as well. And on this one, I actually have a resistor, 500 ohm resistor. Otherwise, this is really bright. You'll see what it looks like without the resistor. So I have blue, white, black, and purple for power. Blue, white, black, and purple. You can see how much brighter that is. That's pretty bright. You can't even tell that there's a color difference. Maybe, yeah, see, you can if I shine it on my hand. But just looking straight at it, you can't really tell there's much of a color difference. It's that bright. I mean, it really is that bright. So that's without a resistor. You want to put a resistor on there. It doesn't have to be as janky as this. You know, in the final install, I will have this in a PCB or something like that, or shrink wrapped, inline on the wire kind of thing. But there you go. Adafruit Step Switch RGB mod. I guess that's what I'll call it.